Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to Sparx's 2 key events presented by Joke. We are now in the final couple of matches of the semifinals weekend, officially the back half, and we have the second of 2 conditional matches that are going to be going through here on the losers bracket. It is going to be Zoobin taking on AstalFanBoy to see who will be advancing to that losers finals. As always, my name is Sparky and I am by myself once again in the commentary booth, going to see if we can make it through this one together as we await to see these two having some pretty convincing performances in their matches earlier this weekend. Now going up against each other, a lot of respect between these two as we wait for I believe they both have warm-ups, so we'll be getting the warm-ups in here before too long. And at the request of Zoobin, always wanting to play everything with double time. I don't know what's scarier, the fact that they want to play everything with double time or the fact that they're really proficient at playing everything with double time. This person does not have a speed cap from the looks of it. And Astal not even gonna waste the stamina trying to play their way through this. This is definitely beyond a lot of players' comfort levels. You're gonna get this. I think this is the tiebreaker from last weekend. So if you didn't get to see it last weekend, here it is in all its double time glory. The good thing is that this goes under the 4-minute barrier with double time, so it's fine. So just as a quick recap as to how these two players got here, Zoobin winning their match against Mari earlier this weekend on Friday by a score of 6-0, and Astal winning against Bagietka with a similar scoreline, 6-0. At the same time, they actually played their first semifinals matches at the same time against their opponents. Not intentionally, that's just how it shook out. Last-minute reschedule from one of the matches made it so that they overlapped, but did not change the result. Both these two with convincing scorelines. I think Zoobin having the higher scores between the two of them across all the maps that they played that were in common, at least. So there's probably a bit of a advantage for Zoobin going into this matchup overall in terms of accuracy discrepancies, but they were prone to some misses on the LN charts that didn't really put their score in danger against Mari. But if Astal is able to put up performances that can rival Zoobin's accuracy in terms of holding onto their combo and getting the score, then maybe they can pull some points out of the bag here on those charts. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Zoobin go back to that LM2 ban that they struck out against Mari. And of course with Zoobin, it's like they're probably just gonna chill on the speed and rice charts. If Astal really did their homework, I wouldn't be surprised if they took out rice 3 here, considering the fact that they are a single tapper compared to Zoobin's full ult style. And Rice 3 is definitely not a chart that you want to single tap. You can get away with it if you do have the stamina, but it is very tiring to single tap some of those elongated anchors. And that will do it for the first warm-up here, where I think Astal managed to find a warm-up, so Zoobin lamenting losing the S at the last second. And now, getting into Astal's warm-up. Mapped by them, for those unaware, AstalFanBoy is Snow, for more colloquially known as Snow, for those that have been around. So I think for the sake of not naming them after the person that they're that they're emulating here, we'll just refer to Astal as Snow from here on out. Oh, it's crazy. This map background perfectly matches on both sides. Oh, that's so cool. It's not every day you see a map that perfectly mirrors itself. But it looks like, oh, I didn't even notice it was a 4-key warm-up. So we're just playing 4-key. This is a 4-key tournament now. We've multiplied. Now, of course, both these players, excellent 4-key players. There's really no major limits to their overall proficiency, and I believe if I read Snow's comments correctly, this is from FFR, so both these two very high up on the FFR rankings, so I'm more than sure they're familiar with this chart, or at least I've seen it around. I'm not sure how new it is, considering that game's been around for a while, so history on that game aside, it's a nice little way to kind of break up the monotony. It might help Zoobin out a little bit more since it relaxes both the fingers that they'd be using for their full ult style. Yeah, no need to read any of this. You can just kind of, I think you could just mash your way through this and get through relatively unscathed. Hopefully both players remember to turn off mirror if they didn't use it, because while it was a nice little gimmick to do in 1-key where it really doesn't matter, it actually does matter quite a lot in 2-key. Playing some of these structures on the offhand is definitely not advisable, depending on your hand preference. Alrighty, so hopefully the players are warmed up. We'll be getting into those roles, the bans, and that all-important first pick. Snow with the 91 to start things off here. To the 3. Okay. A very convincing 3. So Snow will win the role. I believe that gives Zoobin the first ban in this match. Oh, and I believe I misspoke when I came to predicting Zoobin's possible ban. They banned out LN3, not LN2, in their match against Murray, so wouldn't be surprised if we saw that get banned out again. Oh, but it's gonna be the SV ban this time around. It makes sense. I think Snow is a very proficient SV player, someone that would put the time into learning it. And sure enough, they did their homework. Rice 3 is going to be the ban here, so not going to see Winehouse, which probably would have been a slam dunk first pick for Zoobin here, just based on the style of the chart. Just plays so well into their favor. And now is Snow up to pick first. Be interesting to see what they decide to go for. Maybe an LN3 to start things off. I don't think they'd willingly want to pick into the Rice charts, given what they know about Zoobin and how they can basically ratio everything in this map pool. The hybrids are always up for consideration as well, but yeah, it's gonna be LN1. So our custom song for this round, it is gonna be Synapse. Alrighty, so getting on into it, as a reminder, this is now officially a best of 11 format. First player to 6 points will be seeing themselves through to the finals. Loser will be eliminated from the tournament. On Snow's first pick, we go for LN1 here. And as we get started here, first couple of LN impacts here, the alternating streams into the double transitions. Handled beautifully by both players. Zoobin holding on to the accuracy advantage, but both of them holding on to their FCs respectively. Only going to account for about 3,000 points, but Zoobin finds the first slider break in this chart. And another one to boot, and a lead goes immediately on over to Snow, who is able to hold on to the accuracy as Zoobin comes down to meet them, but a massive accuracy drop in the transition. Manages to hold on to the full combo, but losing almost an entire percent in terms of their accuracy, giving Zoobin the advantage just for the moment here. And with time to get back up with that 400 combo cap, they can start to extend this lead if Snow isn't able to climb up any further than this. They need to get back up to that 99% mark to start making some inroads in this lead. Or hope for another slider break. That can do the business also. As the lead slowly starts to trickle, it is such an arduous process trying to get this lead back on over 2,000 points. And another slider break from Zoobin, not able to establish a foothold in this chart with half the map left to go. It is up to Snow to hold on to this FC now. If they find a drop, the lead is going to, that 9,000 point cushion is going to evaporate. Right now, smooth sailing as it stands. A third of the chart still left to go. 9,600 points to the good is No on their first pick. A stream of 200 is going to damage the accuracy, going to put a massive dent. As I mentioned, 10,000 points immediately gone in an instant. That's without even missing. 2,500 points the advantage now with a quarter of the map left to go. Zoobin now back up with that 400 combo cap, improving their accuracy. It might not even be in Snow's court anymore. If Zoobin could get back up over 99.4%, they can start to get this lead back on over to their side. It's 1,000 points. They're doing everything in their power with an eighth map left to go here. 1,400 points now. Can Snow hang on? They still have the FC. They find the miss on the transition, but Zoobin trades it back. 5,000 points now in their favor. Now the accuracy, as the last couple of notes rain down, they had it. They had it and they lost it at the last possible moment. Less than 100 notes left to go, and Zoobin manages to squeak it out. Another performance where they have more misses than 200s. Oh, what a first map. If that's a sign of things to come, I hope everybody is ready, because that was too close to call. Zoobin with the accuracy advantage, but the miscount not in their favor. And Snow just not able to make it to the end. And now Zoobin up to pick first. Or for the first time, rather, in this match. Would not be surprised if we saw something like Rice 4, maybe? Or even just Rice 1, just stay with the bog standard. Speed charts are both also up for grabs here. And it's gonna be Rice 1. Alrighty, so Rice won, probably the most quote-unquote standard pick in this pool. Not a lot of punches, just a lot of 1/4 patterning at 180 BPM, just a little bit faster than last weekend's Rice 1 chart. But nothing too outrageously technical in comparison to some of the other maps in this pool. And I imagine the margin for error for both these players is going to be a couple of 300s if they're performing at their absolute peak. Right now, Snow picking up a number of 300s more than Zoobin, who managed to hold on to that 100% for a little bit longer than what some would deem normal. I think only less than 5 300s as it stands. Moving on into the second quarter of the chart, it is only 1,500 points. The fact that Snow is able to keep this within 0.2% almost. But with the 200 coming through here, that alone, with the level of performance that Zoobin can put forth on this chart, could be equated to a miss in the grand scheme of things. And with the 300 counts coming through now, a little bit higher on the side of Snow. Moving into the back half of the chart now, both SC still on the board, but 6,000 points in favor of Zoobin4 right now, who is near perfect in their performance as it stands. Can swap over. Singular misses at this level could prove catastrophic for either of the players, but I think both of them able to kind of swing this one way or another, just sacrificing some of the accuracy at times, at least in terms of Snow's case. Down to that low 99% mark now, 0.7%, might be out of catching range if a miss were to come through on Zoobin's side, but with a quarter of the map left to go, it's still a little precarious. But now with the 20,000 points in the lead and a tiny break before getting back into these 3-node streams, might be secured at this point. Oh, but Snow finds the drop here towards the end, but Zoobin trades it back. But a minor blip in the grand scheme of things. I wonder if they think that that might be it for their performance, not knowing that they're nursing a 23,000 point lead. They are very confidently in front at the moment, but another one coming through here towards this ending. It's not going to be enough. 30,000 points of margin as Zoobin picks up their first earn point and doubling up on that break point from earlier. 53 300s. And again, more misses than 200s. And Snow, we're not wasting any time. LN2 going to be a pick here. It's like probably just going to run the gamut of these LN picks. Alright, so both players are ready to get into this third map of this best of 11. Zoobin currently 2 to the good, looking to try and get another breakpoint in this match. Snow looking to try and notch their first point on the board here. As we wait for things to get situated through this introduction. 500 points of margin between the two players. Gonna wait to see if that was a Bancho miss on Snow's side. It was a pretty clean slider break, but I don't see the combo recovering, so that was an organic miss on their side. Actually, no, it does recover. I got trolled once again. Thank you, Bancho, for deceiving me for the millionth time. And as we settle into the second quarter of the chart, Zoobin finding an actual miss here, though. Gonna slide the lead on over to Snow's side. And with that, the first row accuracy advantage that they have had in a chart so far this match. But Zoobin on the relentless climb as Snow comes down to meet them, picking up a number of 300s on these releases. Able to recover nicely when the right Snows do come through, but the 200s on the transitions out of these sections gonna start chipping away at this lead, especially with Zoobin back up with that 400 combo cap. Despite holding out to the full combo, it's still all to play for going into the back half now. But Snow holding on to the lead, 3,000 points as it stands. Bit of a calmer section to recoup some of that accuracy. Extend it just a little bit, try and stave off the advances of Zoobin on the other side, who is now 0.2% ahead in terms of the overall accuracy with a quarter of the map left to go. It is starting to slip on over. They have managed to recuperate enough accuracy to bring the lead back on over to their side, but it is so precarious. It is now a tug-of-war between the two players. It is hundreds of points being thrown around as the 300 count starts to rain down. Zoobin finds yet another slider break, and that might be the opening Snow needs to put this map away. They are in a similar position as earlier with LN1. Can they see it through the end this time? Ending definitely not as hard as LN1, but it can get a little tricky as these doubles start to rain down. 10,000 points still in their favor, and it is going to be Snow picking up the first point in this match, putting away the broom early, 2-1 here. That late miss from Zoobin, they're undoing as well. They might have been able to knock it through. Alrighty, we might have a match on our hands here. And right now, our referee had some technical difficulties as we wait for everything to come through here. So do bear with us as we wait for our referee to recover. And we might need a bit of a cover here as we wait for our main referee to get in here. Pick is Speed 2. So bear with us as we get everything settled down here. We'll get Speed 2 loaded up here in just a moment. And there we go, Speed 2 is loaded up. Our referee is back. The players are ready. We'll be getting into this fourth map before too long. As we wait for the MP start command to come out here. I think they set the map, and right now we're just waiting on that MP start to come through here. But as it stands, what a match so far. Snow able to pick up one of their two LN picks. And Zoobin looking to try and, I mean, they do have the added benefit of having these two speed picks to go into, so for right now, We'll see what they can do with the speed pick. I imagine with the single tapping style of Snow, it's going to be hard going to try and make it through this relatively unscathed. It's just a matter of if they can keep their head above water through most of these sections, because it does get a little bit wild here. But we'll have to wait and see as we... There we go, we are loaded in officially into this fourth map. And strong starts from both players. There's just a lot of single note alternating streams. The doubles don't really start to get too abrasive until later on in the chart. You get some alternating streams into doubles as well. And the first real big dense section catching out Snow as Zoobin really starting to eke out an advantage here. 20,000 points with a quarter of the map gone. Well above that 400 combo cap now. Going to get full credit for their judgments as we continue forward. It's the transitions of these single note streams. They start off as 1/4. They start increasing in snap, or decreasing in snap length to about 1/8. And it can catch out players if they're expecting just a singular speed throughout the entirety of it. And Snow picking up a couple extra misses on those transitions going into this calm LN section. Nice little reprieve from everything that has gone on, but with 43,000 points of a cushion to work with, I think Zoobin very confidently in the driver's seat right now. And really just pushing Snow's overall physicality to try and maintain pace here. Doing very well to hold on some semblance of a combo. 98% in terms of their accuracy. Not something to take lightly here, but Zoobin just finding the right maps at the right times to really push this advantage. And as this map begins to come to an end here, one of the more convincing victories of this match so far. 100,000 points of margin between the two players. And Zoobin 990k on speed 2. A singular 100. Blemishing a near perfect performance. That is ridiculous. And with Snow up to pick once again. Wouldn't be surprised if they decided to run the gamut here, make it LN3 to round out that section. Nearly worked out on LN1, actually did work out on LN2. Can they go 2 for 3 here? Alrighty, so getting on into this next pick. Snow looking to go 2 for 3 on the LN charts. And so far, both of them handling this incredibly well. Bit of a stronger start on Zoobin's side, but as we have seen on these LN charts, do have a propensity to miss getting through some of these harder sections, but so far smooth sailing for both of them. First long jack section, not straight 1/4. There are some tricky snaps in between, some 1/5s, and it does catch out Astal, and that causes the entire column to rush. But Zoobin straight to miss back, but I think the overall damage has been done. There's no losing 3% on that section, on these long jacks, just not having the best time of it, as they're at risk of falling down into that A rank range. And Zoobin, despite the miss, still able to keep their head above that 99% mark. 50,000 points to the good as it stands. That alternating style really paying off right now. And with half the map still left to go, unless there is just this miraculous string of misses on the side of Zoobin, there's really not much Zoe can do here. The column rushes on these long jacks, the fact that they're single tapping their way through all of it, the strain really being put on display here as they try to muscle their way through some of those longer anchors, but not paying off in their favor for right now. Still a third of the map left to go, a break, a reprieve, mercifully. And Zoobin with the ghost tapping, very familiar with this chart by the looks of it, knowing where it's safe to do so. Very comfortable with the spacing as well. Quarter of the map still left to go here. And as this map begins to come to an end, a nice recovery run from Snow, but too little too late. I think that first real long stream of one-handed anchors just a little bit too much for them to overcome. When they did find their misses, Zoobin does find another slip-up at the end, but I mean, 135,000 points, you can't get any more convincing than that. And they make it 4-1 now. And they make it 4-1 with 2 rice charts still left. The second speed chart available can really just run the gamut on these more physical picks. Yeah, it's gonna be hybrid 2 instead. So not opting to go for Rice 4, Rice 2, but instead Hybrid 2 is going to be the pick here. So we got our first hybrid of the match. Zoobin looking to try and make it a match point situation. Snow looking to try and notch a second point on the board here. As we get a very technical start here, these awkward burst transitions. Very fast paced, above 1/8 from the looks of it. Transitions between the columns and Snow picking up an early couple of 200s here, but able to kind of find their footing. But Zoobin, an expert with technical picks, and has shown very high proficiency on these types of charts before going into this weekend, making very light work of this introduction as Snow finds the first drop here. Down below that 99% mark, 13,000 points to the good is Zoobin, full percent ahead in terms of the accuracy, just about. As we take a tiny bit of a break before diving right back on into it. So we continue on, half the map still left to go here. Snow is climbing in terms of their accuracy, but another couple of 200s is gonna really just send the rock rolling right back down the mountain. But Zoobin finding a slider break, going into the last third here, does put a tiny bit of a dent in their lead, but enough of a cushion to kind of withstand it. Still about the 99.7 mark. And still able to maintain an 18,000 point cushion. So minor slip-ups here and there, but can be understood. These maps are incredibly difficult to read through. And the fact that they're able to keep the drops so clean, able to spare them the heart attacks of these wild 1,000-point swings that we have seen in previous matches. And as the chart comes to an end, a minor blip on an otherwise very clean performance. And Zoobin is going to make it a match point situation, 5-1 now. And now Snow up to pick once again. They don't have the luxury of any more LN charts to go into. They do still have two hybrids. I don't think they'd want to duel with Zoobin on the Rice or Speed picks, so kind of backed into a corner now in terms of what they want to go into. If we're judging just based off map style, maybe Hybrid 3 would be the best option to go into. Oh, but it's gotta be Speed 1. Alrighty, so clearing out both the speed picks here. Players having discussions about the semantics of playstyles. As I say, the players having these kinds of discussions in the middle of a match, but they are ready. We're going to get into what could possibly be the last map of this match. If it does go Zoobin's way, Snow going to try and stave it off as long as humanly possible on the brink of elimination here. As we get on into the 7th map. Zoobin finding the first drop in this map. I was gonna say both players handling that introduction very nicely, but on the transition, these trills getting the better of Zoobin. Starting off, the anchors start to switch hands before too long, but this is the first real long jack section on the left hand, but transitioning into the right, and Snow holding on to the largest lead they've had so far this match, 10,000 points, but still all to play for. 2/3 of the map still left to go, and Zoobin closing in terms of accuracy, about a 10th behind, but we have seen these swap hands before, and that's really where Zoobin starts to do their damage in terms of clawing back some of these deficits that they've had in this match. But Snow looking very comfortable on this chart so far. 99.7 to 99.65, still 9,000 points just ahead by the virtue of that miss. Still not out of it just yet is Zoobin, but gonna need to hope for a drop from Snow here with a third of the map left to go. They are starting to chip away at this lead, closing the distance in terms of the accuracy discrepancy, but because of the fact that they are both above that 99.7 mark, they really can't bank on that anymore. They find another drop going into the double transition out of the trill. And Snow manages to cushion their advantage just a little bit further here. 17,000 points. This is the most convincing that they have looked so far with a quarter map left to go. Is this a second point in the bag for Snow here? Time will tell, but they have looked very convincing on this chart so far. Arguably the most comfortable they've looked so far. Any of these rice picks able to take Zoobin to task, at least stylistically. And as we wind this pick down, 21,000 points the margin. Finally a convincing map for Snow, and they managed to make it 5-2 here. 990k of their own, losing the ratio battle but winning the full combo war between the two of them, and they stave off elimination for at least one more map. And now is Zoobin up to pick. What do they go for here? They do have a couple of options. But it's just a matter of what they want to go for, and Rice 4 is going to be the option here. So passage D to try and close this out, not give Snow any opportunities to get themselves back into this match. So right now, just waiting on the players to get ready before we get on into this 8th map of this best of 11. Snow 3 points away from forcing that tiebreaker, but Zoobin on a map that they hope they are way more comfortable on. In these early goings, the fact that some of these structures aren't elongated anchors, these long jacks that these players so lovingly dub. Zoobin finding the first drop though in the exchanges, holding on to the higher accuracy, so not gonna immediately bleed over a massive lead to Snow, but it's again combo gaming versus accuracy gaming, and right now Snow winning the battle on that front, able to get to that 400 combo cap first. I imagine once Zoobin gets up there, because of the fact that they're 3/10 ahead, they'll start chipping away at this lead, but they need to get there first. And if Snow can keep it within about a 10th of a percent, they can stave off that potential advantage, but finding a number of 200s, able to hold on to their combo, but not able to hold on to the lead right now. Zoobin really starting to make some inroads in this advantage that Snow has built up. Half the map still left to go. It is 328 points at the latest break before diving right back on into it. Zoobin recovering very nicely. 99.6 for them, 99.1 for Snow. 0.5% down. But that deficit is only 1400. It is still within striking distance. Now Zoobin within catching range with just minor slip-ups. If they lose a 1/10%, I could start bleeding it on over, but Snow picking up a number. I think that was a couple of 50s coming through here on their side, down below at 99% mark now. And it's going to grow this advantage for Zoobin to 12,000 points, not even missing. But because of the amount of points that they're giving over, because of this just discrepancy in the accuracy of full percent now almost, Zoobin is going to potentially try and see themselves over the line. 16,000 points, a couple of really awkward bursts coming through, handled expertly by both the players, but Zoobin able to see it through to the end. 19,000 points, the ratio advantage. The one slip up, maybe a bit of a hard in mouth moment, but able to see it through to the end. 6-2, the margin of victory. And we say goodbye to Snow. A valiant effort, able to get 2 points off of Zoobin, but we'll be bowing out into the semifinals. Zoobin punches her ticket to the losers final. And it looks like these two will be seeing each other next week in FFR. I believe the official tournament is going on over there, so that'll be nice to see. But that will do it for this match. But not for the weekend. There are 3 matches still left to go. You can see one in the bracket. The last losers bracket match is going to round out the weekend. Dragon versus Silicosis, also known as Cub. But before that, we have the 2 winners bracket matches happening conveniently next to each other. Not in terms of time, but in terms of scheduling. That first one will be Nathaniel versus Basil at 22 UTC today on Saturday. And then tomorrow, Sunday, 16 UTC, Mini Egg taking on Kuai Pora to see who will be in winners finals. So definitely more action to come. Definitely don't miss it. But until then, we'll catch you guys later.